In the silent corners of a forgotten town, where the wind carried whispers instead of sound, there stood an old, two-story wooden house that no one dared to enter after sunset. Locals called it the Malik House. It had been abandoned for years, ever since its owner, an old man named Hamid Malik, vanished one stormy night without leaving a single trace. Some said he left the town after losing his mind. Others whispered he had never left the house at all. Every evening, as dusk settled, the wooden panels would creak on their own. Street dogs howled at its rusted gate, and windows rattled as though someone were tapping from the inside. The townsfolk avoided walking past it after dark. But one man had no choice, Rafiq, the caretaker who looked after the property for the absent family. Rafiq was a simple, middle-aged man who didn't believe in ghosts or jinn. For him, the house was just old wood and stone. Every day, he would unlock the gate at noon, clean the front porch, and leave before nightfall, until one evening his routine changed forever. That day, rain clouds gathered earlier than usual, and thunder rolled through the sky like distant growling. His motorbike had broken down, and the only way back home was on foot, 5 kilometers through a deserted road. Rafiq decided to wait inside the house until the rain eased. He locked the front gate, lit the kerosene lamp, and sat on an old wooden chair. The house was cold, unnaturally cold. The walls, damp from years of neglect, seemed to breathe. Rafiq tried to distract himself scrolling through his old phone, but then the landline phone on the wall rang. He froze. That phone had been dead for years. The line was disconnected long before he took the caretaker job. Yet the shrill ring echoed through the house again, clear and persistent. Hesitantly, he lifted the receiver. There was no voice, no static, only a long beep, like a recording about to start. Then came a faint, distorted voice, low and metallic, whispering, Rafiq's heart stopped for a moment. He tried speaking. Hello? Kaun hai? But the line went dead with a crackling hiss. He put the receiver down, laughing nervously to himself. Must be a prank. Maybe the wire caught a signal somehow. But when he turned around, the air felt heavier. A draft swept through the hallway, though every window was shut. Minutes passed. Rain battered the roof and lightning flashed across the room. When Rafiq glanced at the old grandfather clock, it showed 12:40 a.m. He hadn't realized how much time had passed. As the minute hand moved closer to 12:45, an unsettling thought crept into his mind. What if the call was real? The clock ticked louder. Tick, tick, tick. At exactly 12:45, the house fell completely silent. No rain, no wind, just stillness. Then the front door creaked open on its own. Rafiq's breath caught in his throat. He stepped forward, lamp in hand, staring at the open door that swayed gently in the wind. Hello? He whispered into the darkness outside. Nothing. Only the faint sound of dripping water. He walked slowly toward the door, every step echoing on the wooden floor. When he looked outside, there was no one there. No footprints on the muddy ground. No sound but his heartbeat pounding in his ears. Then, from somewhere behind him, the landline phone rang again. He turned sharply. The door slammed shut by itself, throwing the room into pitch darkness as the lamp flickered violently. The phone kept ringing, longer, louder, faster. Rafiq ran toward it, grabbed the receiver, and shouted, "Who are you?" Again, the same voice, softer this time, almost playful. 12:45. Wa agaya. The line went dead. A loud thud echoed from the upstairs room. Dust fell from the ceiling as if someone was walking heavily above him. But that was impossible. There hadn't been a second floor staircase since it collapsed years ago. Terrified yet drawn by instinct, Rafiq lifted the lamp and looked toward the broken stairway. And then he saw them. Footprints. Wet, muddy footprints appeared on the wooden floor, starting from the open front door and leading straight into the house. Each step formed slowly, one after another, though no one was there. Rafiq stumbled back, clutching the lamp, his breathing quick and shallow. The footprints led toward the living room, to the phone. And then, just as suddenly as they appeared, the phone rang for a third time. This time, Rafiq didn't answer. He simply stood there, frozen, watching as the receiver lifted itself off the hook and dangled midair, swinging slowly back and forth. The voice came again, but not from the phone. It whispered directly behind his ear. "He's already inside." The lamp shattered on the floor. The room went black. Next morning, the neighbors found the front door wide open. The phone was off the hook, still emitting that faint beep. but Rafiq was nowhere to be found. His bike remained outside, his belongings untouched. Later that week, when the police inspected the house, they noticed something strange in the CCTV footage. Around 12:45 a.m., the video glitched, and for exactly 3 seconds, the figure of a man appeared near the staircase. His face wasn't visible, but he was standing right where the footprints had stopped. The timestamp on the screen flickered, 12:45 a.m., then static. And that's where the file ended. 2 weeks after Rafiq's disappearance, the Malik house stood silent again amidst windows, like empty eyes staring at anyone brave enough to look. The police investigation had gone nowhere. They searched every corner, every inch of that property. No blood, no body, nothing. Only that strange glitch in the CCTV, the dark figure frozen mid-step at 12:45 a.m., before the screen drowned in static. People in town began avoiding the road entirely. Shopkeepers would cross the street rather than pass near the house. Even the dogs stopped, 3-4 barking at night. But for one person, the silence only screamed louder. Farhan, Rafiq's nephew. Farhan had grown up hearing stories about that house, about how his uncle used to say, "There's nothing to fear but imagination." Yet now Rafiq was gone, and nobody wanted to talk about it. Every time Farhan asked, people changed the subject or warned him to let it go. But grief doesn't let go easily. He couldn't sleep knowing the man who raised him had just vanished without a trace. So one cold night, Farhan packed a flashlight, his uncle's old diary, and a phone camera, and he walked toward the Malik house. The gate screeched when he pushed it open, like it hadn't been touched since that stormy night. The air smelled of rust and wet wood. Inside, dust floated like fine ash. He placed his phone on a nearby shelf, recording everything. "Uncle Rafiq?" His voice echoed weakly. No answer. Only the faint ticking of that ancient grandfather clock, still working. Somehow, Farhan started upstairs, but stopped. The staircase was broken, its middle section missing. Yet he could hear faint footsteps above. Slow, deliberate, heavy. He froze. Every instinct told him to run. But then, from the corner of the hall, he noticed something glowing faintly, the landline phone. The same one from the police report. Its red light blinked like a heartbeat. Curiosity overpowered fear. He walked toward it. The moment his finger brushed the receiver, it rang, loud, sharp, unnatural. Farhan gasped but picked it up. Static filled the line. Then a voice, low, distant, almost human. "He's not gone. He's still here." Farhan's throat went dry. "Who is this? Where's my uncle?" The voice shifted, distorted, overlapping like two people speaking at once. 12:45 play. The recording. Then silence. He dropped the receiver, his pulse racing. "Recording?" he muttered, scanning the shelf. Then he saw it in a small, dusty tape recorder beside the phone, half covered with cobwebs. A note was stuck to it, written in shaky handwriting. "If I don't return, listen after midnight, which are." Farhan swallowed hard, grabbed the recorder, and sat near the table. He pressed play. The tape crackled. It was Rafiq's voice, trembling. "If anyone finds this, I think I understand now." The calls. They're not random. The house remembers. Every night, 12:45, the time Malik Sahib died. He was trying to call someone that night, but the call never connected. I think his voice got trapped, looping through the lines. I keep hearing it, his words, like an echo that won't stop. But last night I saw him. He was standing by the staircase. I think he wants me to finish what he started. The tape ended abruptly with a harsh click. Then the landline rang again. Farhan's heart slammed against his ribs. He slowly picked it up. This time there was no static and only a whisper, cold and close. "You shouldn't have come." The lights flickered. The clock struck 12:45. "Oh!" At once the temperature dropped. Farhan's breath turned to mist. The door behind him creaked open by itself, and a wave of wind swept through, scattering papers across the floor. He turned and saw the figure. A dark silhouette, tall and motionless, standing by the broken staircase. Its outline pulsed faintly, like static on a TV screen. "Uncle?" Farhan whispered, trembling. The figure tilted its head as if recognizing the voice. Slowly it began to move forward, not walking but gliding. The air filled with the faint sound of a phone ringing, overlapping again and again. Farhan stumbled back toward the door, fumbling for his phone. The live camera feed was glitching, showing double images, one of him standing there, and another of someone right behind him. He turned, nothing. The landline screamed one final ring. Farhan covered his ears, but the sound didn't stop. It grew louder, sharper, until it wasn't sound anymore but a pulse that shook the walls. The grandfather clock shattered. The phone burst into static, and then silence. When Farhan opened his eyes, everything was still again. The clock read 12:46 a.m., the figure was gone. He grabbed his phone, ran outside, and didn't stop until he reached the main road. The next morning, police found his phone lying on the front porch of the Malik house. The video file had recorded the entire night, except between 12:44 and 12:46, 2 minutes of corrupted footage. When the investigators tried to restore it, they noticed something impossible. The file contained audio data in the silence. When enhanced, a faint voice could be heard whispering over and over again. "Pick up the call." They shut the file and closed the case again. Weeks later, the property was sealed. Yet every night, exactly at 12:45 a.m., the old landline light blinked for a few seconds before fading out. No phone line was connected, no power supply active. Just that red light glowing faintly in the dark. And sometimes, if you walked close enough, you could hear it, the faint tone of a phone ringing inside. Locals say the house is cursed. Others claim it's just an echo, a leftover sound trapped in metal and wire. But those who've dared to enter swear by one truth. If you answer the call at 12:45 a.m., you'll never hang up again.